So we're back down here at Las Vegas Federal Courthouse in Las Vegas. It's the trial for Eric Parker, Stephen Stewart, Scott Drexler, and Ricky Loveland. We're in our lunch break right now. We got Eric Parker back on the stand after that lengthy sidebar we had when the government was objecting to all of Eric Parker's testimony. The judge, after that lengthy sidebar and break, we got Eric Parker back on the stand. The first question she asked Eric Parker, and this is not with the witnesses or the jurors yet back in there, she asked him, does he want to continue testifying? And he said, yes, I absolutely want to continue testifying. So then she called the jurors back in. It seemed like, to me, personally sitting in the courtroom, they were trying to put so much pressure on Eric Parker, and as they did all these other witnesses, and trying to keep him from testifying. They do not want any testimony for the defense. And they came to a conclusion, and they're allowing Eric to testify on certain parts. And the government is still continuing to object on any testimony that's coming from the snipers on the hill. And Jeff Marchese is doing an awesome job right now. He is pushing forward, and he's trying to get this testimony out. And I feel like that we might get it out before it's over with. These certain words have been brought out, such as sniper, First Amendment zone. These things have been brought out, but it's slowly coming out of Eric's testimony. And if Jeff Marchese doesn't bring it out right, it will not be allowed. So he's having to reword a lot of things to bring Eric's state of mind out. Why Eric went there in the first place. Did he know anybody there? What led up to the circumstances on why he did what he did that day. Why he was behind that Jersey barrier, crouched down, laying prone. All these things that are trying to make him look scary. And that 30 minutes of actual what they call fame of him being on that bridge was such a short time, and what led up to all that. They didn't even want him to bring up a telescope, testify about it, that he could look through it, and he looked up on that mesa where the snipers were. That was objected to, and that's where we kind of left off at lunch. We're hoping when we get back, this part of the testimony will come out. A lot of these things...
What did they put up, John, in regard? They put a photo up.
They put a photo up. It was Exhibit 57. It's a government exhibit. It's been in the last trial. It was in this trial. And but they objected to that exhibit, that photo of the snipers up on the mesa, and they did not want that to be shown to the jurors again during his testimony. We're hoping that it get brought up afterwards. That's where we left off. That's where they called a lunch break. We'll probably have some arguments about that before the jurors come back.
Also, just to clarify, the objection was sustained, but the photo was up in front of the jury, but it was sustained. And he's going to continue on. The case is going to continue on after lunch.
He's going to continue on, but he's going to try to lead up so he can still show that more and talk about it. Get it out of Eric's get it out of his statement. One thing that was brought up is about, and I always had this question, is the government brought it up in testimony in the last trial. They claimed Eric Parker called the stockyard and made threats of some sort and talked to them for some sort of time. They would not let him explain that. This time, it got explained that he did, yes, call the stockyard where the cattle were supposed to be taken to after the BLM impounded them. I think that stockyard was in Utah.
Euclid.
Where is it?
Euclid, California.
Euclid, California. That was one of them. Did he call the California one or the Utah one?
Yeah, there's two of them.
There was two of them. So he called one of them. And probably the one in California, but he never got a hold of anybody. That's what didn't get brought out.
And he lost the urge.
He lost the urge to continue to try to call them. So he didn't even talk to anybody. So he didn't make any threats. He didn't even get to talk to them to ask them the questions that he wanted to ask. The last jurors did not get to hear that part.
And of course, the government never presented any evidence of any threats.
Exactly.
They only tried to paint a picture of it with no evidence, no recording, no audio, because there is none.
There is none. And that's what Jeff Marchese pointed out today for Eric. He turned around in court and he pointed back to the government. It says they brought this stuff up. They brought it up in their witnesses and stuff. And Myrie, he objected to that and said, Your Honor, I am objecting to the defense here pointing at us. And the judge said, don't do that anymore. She kind of scolded Jeff Marchese and told him not to be doing any more pointing in the courtroom. So that was interesting there too. We had a couple more sidebars. Each one of these sidebars have been quite lengthy. That longest one, I'm guessing, lasted almost 20 minutes.
20-25, because it was about 20 minutes when I got there. There was another 5 to 10 more minutes.
Yes.
It was like 25 almost. 30.
Lasted quite a while.
Yeah.
And this last one lasted another 5 or 10 minutes or so, I think. But it was some quite lengthy sidebars. They're doing some arguing behind the scenes there. And they're trying to stop this totally. I noticed one of the jurors, and I don't know if this means anything or not, but juror number 8, when he came into the courtroom this morning, he had a pamphlet in his pocket, and I was trying to look at it. It was some kind of book or pamphlet, and it had some kind of picture on it. At first, I thought it was a pocket constitution of some sort, but I couldn't see it very clearly. But I noticed when he left the courtroom and he came back, he didn't have it any longer in his pocket. So that was kind of interesting to see that he was also carrying something in his pocket. That I know Andrea Parker had some updates earlier, and I'm sure she's done it more.
It's below this video
detail.
right now.
Okay, go watch hers. Hers is probably more in detail on some of the things. She takes very good notes. One thing I wanted to comment on is after Eric retook the stand afterwards, he bowed his head for quite some time and prayed before the jurors were called back into the room. So that's where we're at. We're fixing to go back up to court. We're going to hear the rest of Eric's testimony this afternoon. I don't know if it'll go into Monday or not, and we're hoping that Scott Drexler takes the stand. And that looks like our only the 2 witnesses we're going to have for this, for the ending of this trial.
And just to clarify, we did do an earlier video this morning. If you haven't seen it yet, John Lamb and Andrea Parker were on a video earlier this morning. So we did a mid-morning break video, just a short one if you want to go back and see that. And then there's Andrea Parker's video that she just did a few minutes before we came out here. We were having lunch. We apologize, but we didn't know what was happening yet. But we're having lunch, but here we are again. So you have Andrea Parker's video, mid-morning break video, and now you have this video as well.
Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. If you can, go online, find out how you can impeach Judge Navarro. There's a place on Facebook and different online sites that you can sign that petition to impeach Judge Navarro and get more attention to this. We want all the signatures we can get for that. We do have a large sign out here. We're having a hard time keeping it up today. But we'll have some better stuff maybe Monday. I'm going to go pick up some stuff from Home Depot or Lowe's to build a better stand for Monday. We'll be back down here on Monday. There will be no court tomorrow. We'll try to have you an update if we can this evening to let you know. There's some very exciting stuff happening in the courtroom. We're glad to be here observing and reporting on this.
How many people are here today? I noticed a big crowd today.
I counted 28 in the courtroom on our side. 28 people today.
And who's out here right now with David Fleeman.
That's a pretty large group. That's one of the largest groups we've had today.
And a little while since the guys were here from the south,
But we can still use more. We want that courtroom filled next week. And I know there's more people coming from Colorado. They're going to be here Monday. I got messages.
There are people out there reading the transcripts and saying that Andrea and yourself are not reporting accurately what's happening in the court, which I know is a total lie because I'm witnessing with you guys often. So if you want to know the truth, if you're questioning the multiple observers that have been reporting here off and on, and some very consistently like Andrea Parker, if you want to know the entire truth, or from Sherry Duvall, I would recommend you to be here. I think the more court observers that we have will definitely show those people online criticizing or blatantly lying about what our efforts are doing as far as our court observations, blatantly lying about it. The more court observers that we have now at this point to confirm what we're seeing is true and accurate. What we're seeing and hearing is true and accurate, and that we are reporting it truthfully and accurately.
And we're doing it as firsthand.
Yeah,
we're doing it. We're in the courtroom witnessing this. So you can't get it no better than that. We encourage you to come down here and witness it yourself firsthand and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what's online out there from people that have not been here.
Yeah.
So
and the mainstream media, once again, still not reporting.
No mainstream media here. So
people are asking if Eric is going to be able to tell his full story.
We're praying that he can, but a lot of it's being kept. They are not allowing his full story to be out there. They are keeping so much of it out. He cannot talk about they're calling the BLM officers victims. So anything that's doing with that, the threat from the BLM officers, how the BLM officers pointed guns, knocked down Margaret Houston, tased Ammon Bundy, arrested Dave Bundy, none of those things can be talked about. The snipers on the Mesa, they're trying to keep that from being talked about right now as we're talking. So all of this stuff is trying to be kept out of Eric Parker's testimony, which goes to his state of mind and the reason he went there. And that's why we need everyone here to support these guys, to show that they give them the courage to continue on speaking the truth and getting this out in the courtroom. And this is Judge Navarro's court. She's trying to hide all this evidence. Steve Myrie's right along with them, objecting to all this and not allowing none of this to happen. We want you here to witness it with us. So that's all I have to say for now. We'll be back hopefully this evening, trying to give you another full update on the rest of the day. So thank you and God bless. It seemed like to me, personally sitting in the courtroom, they were trying to put so much pressure on Eric Parker, and as they did all these other witnesses, and trying to keep him from testifying. They do not want any testimony for the defense. And they came to a conclusion, and they're allowing Eric to testify on certain parts. And the government is... So we're back down here at Las Vegas Federal Courthouse in Las Vegas. It's the trial for Eric Parker, Stephen Stewart, Scott Drexler, and Ricky Loveland. We're in our lunch break right now. We got Eric Parker back on the stand after that lengthy sidebar we had when the government was objecting to all of our Eric Parker, still continuing to object on any testimony that's coming from the snipers on the Hill. And Jeff Marchese's doing an awesome job right now. He is pushing forward and he's trying to get this testimony out. And I feel like that we might get it out before it's over with. These certain words have been brought out, such as sniper, First Amendment zone, these things, testimony. The judge, after that lengthy sidebar and break, we got Eric Parker back on the stand. The first question she asked Eric Parker, and this is not with the witnesses or the jurors yet back in there, she asked him, does he want to continue testifying? And he said, yes, I absolutely want to continue testifying. So then she called the jurors back in. It's have been brought out, but it's slowly coming out of Eric's testimony. And if Jeff Marchese doesn't bring it out right, it will not be allowed. So he's having to reword a lot of things to bring Eric's state of mind out. Why Eric went there in the first place. Did he know anybody there? What led up to the circumstances on why he did what he did that day.